And here we go. So web forms. So forms involve both UX and UI are intended to be functional, purposeful, and easy to use in today's world. Your typography, graphic design, and Gestalt knowledge will play a strong part. That damn word we hear all the time. Forms on the web have been around forever. While the purpose and need for forms has evolved, the design has become much more user-friendly. Sorry, my daughter's in here and just knocked something. Let me go over this again. Forms on the web have been around forever. While the purpose and need for forms has evolved, the design has become much more user-centered and analytical. Sorry if you can hear my kid crying in the background. Subscription-based products and account creation to accrue data from users can be imperative to success. The research and marketing and form design is a crucial part of most online businesses. The way we help the user through the process of filling out a form, dealing with errors, etc., needs to be handled the best way possible. Excuse me, now I had a sneeze. Woo! 5 components of a web form. So while forms can visually look quite different from each other, they're typically comprised of 5 elements that are handled in multiple ways. So our input fields. So here's the good stuff that we need. So our input fields come in a variety of types for a variety of purposes. So here are some common types. We've got text field, password fields, checkboxes, radio buttons, and sliders. Radio buttons is you have 4 choices and you can only select that specific one. You can't turn it off, it's on. Field labels. Field labels are titles that explain what is expected from the user to input into the corresponding field. So for instance, the information you exactly need from them. Form structure. This has to do with the order the user fills out the form in, also the way sections are separated and the relevance fields have between each other. So we're grouping things in their, what's the word I'm looking for? Gosh, I'm just gonna walk away because I'm making arse of myself. Feedback. One of the most important considerations for modern forms is feedback. Feedback lets the user know that they can move on in the process or need to fix something. So how you handle feedback and the tone and manner you choose to present is crucial to the success of your form. Then we've got our great CTA, our call to action. So at the end of most forms, there's typically a button that helps you submit whatever you've filled in. It says typically there's a button. There would always be a button. There is all pretty much pointless for that form. The text for this button can vary, but the ultimate goal is to send data and signify the end of the process. Which then takes you, sorry, just to touch upon that. Another great little thing to add to that is once you do that, maybe a little pop-up that comes up to say thank you, or your response has been sent, some sort of cue for your users so they know that that has been successful and it went through. So form UI design, best practices. So there's several must-dos and don'ts when designing forms for both desktop and mobile. So we've got one column. So the easiest way to allow users to complete a form is the most linear way possible, to make sure it's all within one column, nice and easy. Align your labels. So studies have proven that top left aligned labels have a higher completion rate than left aligned. It's all about creating that pattern to make your form easier to scan. We should listen to those studies. Over here, that information might not be seen up on top. This could also have something to do with mobile. As mobile, we're more used to things being in a more stacked format versus a horizontal format. Display up to 5 options. So presenting the user with up to 5 options they need to choose from is better practice than using a drop-down. The user can scan easier, and selecting an option is one click. So we've got obviously your few clicks here. And then on this one, you would select your drop down, or you click your drop down and then you would make your selection. So a couple ways to do those. Don't use placeholders as labels. So when you use the placeholder text as a label, the user loses the label for the input and may become confused. Using a combination of both can be a little bit more intuitive. So it's kind of nice to put that in there. It's obviously not imperative. Sometimes you'll see a few dots or some X's so people know to fill that in. Adding in like a pseudo piece of information is great, but of course, always making sure you still label that above because like I said, that can get lost. The group related fields together. That's what I was trying to talk about earlier. The section of a form to fill out. Make sure to separate the sections with spaces or lines. Having a good piece of space, but always making sure, or adding a label is always a little bit of extra help for your user. List checkboxes and radio buttons. So similar to using one column for form inputs, it's easier for a user to scan vertically, especially if that precedence hasn't been established already. So if we did it earlier in the game versus going horizontal, then we should continue that. As we've said many, many times, consistency is always key. Make a button text descriptive. So when creating labels for buttons, make sure the text for that label is relevant. So this helps the user understand. Woo! Oh my goodness. This helps the user understand better what will happen when they click that actual button. Sign in versus submit if they haven't done that, or if they haven't, maybe they haven't created a username. So you would say submit, and maybe if you're signing in, then you would use sign in versus the other way around. Display inline errors. So let the user know that there is an error right away by changing the state of the input field. This also provides a description of the error that will help them correct it. So adding a little bit of a descriptive text below in italics, the username is taken, an exclamation point highlighted in red. Sometimes you'll see this piece highlighted in red, maybe an asterisk shows up, etc. Primary versus secondary actions. If there is a specific type of input for a field, let the user know by placing helper text by the field. This helps the user understand what's expected from them. Pardon me. Making sure, so we highlight our buttons in different colors. That helps distinguish between the two. Oopsies. Use autofocus. So autofocus helps the first form that the user will typically fill out be selected. So the user can just start typing instead of having to select the first field first. Of course, we're always trying to make things quick and easy. We've all done it. I've landed on something and, just start typing and then it starts to fill out versus having to actually click where we are supposed to go. Always make things easier, especially like in, for instance, a shopping cart. We don't want to make our customers work too hard. We just want to have them add to cart and process and go. Keep it brief always. So web forms can be daunting. Asking as little as possible from the user is not only less daunting, but completion rates go up. So the idea is to know who your user is, what your information is required from them, and design a form that looks great, functions great, and is easy to use.